G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt, the return to Rosehill and the Golden Rose Group 1 racing back at the second headquarters in Sydney. Before we start, Mark Shean, Mark Rhoden and Jack Dickens, is there any reason given as to why we're back at Rosehill after we weren't there for the last 3 or 4 meetings?
I think they've gone with strict biosecurity measures to get the meeting there. I think they've probably worn Randwick into the ground and they've had enough of timber, so I think they've probably pulled out all stops to get to Rosehill.
Okay. Yeah, because given that Tom Sherry was forced to come to work by his boss and now copped 4 months for it, that workplace was Randwick, so you'd assume they need to be really careful and they've had to juggle a fair bit to keep racing going, and thankfully they have, and the government has let them so we can keep betting. But it's getting shaky, and you think it's probably going to get shakier everywhere, but particularly Melbourne and particularly Sydney, as they sort of give up on COVID zero.
Yeah, well, we're getting 1,000 cases a day, so it's hard to sort of put yourself in a position where even if you go to the shop or go to a supermarket, there is a rough chance you might get it. So you can't just live in a complete bubble all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, given we're back at Rosehill, Mark Shean, what are we expecting?
I don't know. It's a sunny day, and the chances are when the sun comes out, they get the hoses out as well. So you just keep your fingers crossed. You would think after 8 weeks, and surely you get a fair track, but you couldn't put your life on that.
Yeah. No, Mark Rhoden, historically, if you're thinking fine weather, rail true at Rosehill, but it is a fresh track, obviously. Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, historically, the races have been at Rosehill every second week, so this is a bit of uncharted territory. It's had a good break, lovely weather, true rail, surely, they can't stop it up. Okay. Cannot. The only thing I will say is, even in the true, out of that chute, you'd rather be on pace than back. And even in general, back and wide's not great. It's a pretty spacious track, Rosehill, but I think there's something about the contour of the home turn that you really don't want to be coming from last and wide.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a track you really have to sort of cut through to get the inside on the turn. Yeah. You can't get pushed wide like you can some other places. Yes. You probably get away with it at Randwick and places like Caulfield and that, but Rosehill doesn't seem to be that way.
Okay, let's get stuck in. Races 5 through 10. We'll start off with race 5, which is the Heritage. Over 1,100 metres. Halali's favourite at 290 from Home Affairs at 4. King of Sparta at 7. And then you've got Sword of State at 10 upwards for the rest. Mark Shean, kick us off.
Look, this could be a trap race. These 3 horses in the market here, Home Affairs, Palili and King of Sparta, are all drawn in very awkward spots. I think it'll just depend on what happens with pace inside of them in the first couple of 100 metres, finding spots. He might put the foot down, Nash, on Home Affairs. Palili will have to go back, I think, and King of Sparta will have to go back. So, you could even get a split in this race. So I think just from the map looks a bit ordinary for some of these favourites. Look, I thought a Very Fine Red, I know was flattered by a wet track the other day down the outside of Kinzo, but has got barrier 1 here, no weight. My position up on the back of the speed. So I just thought it had some chance. And of the favourites, I thought Palili, I know that Home Affairs did beat him home one day in the Silver Slipper, but Palili paraded very poorly that day. So I would completely forget that the time they clashed there. I think Palili didn't have much luck at Kembla, the tempo of that race. So the Esprit profile would certainly suggest he'd run well again here. So I'm having a spec on the 11. And of the favourites, just watching Palili how it parades. Not sure what to make of Home Affairs, apparently coming off a bit of a setback with the temperature, so I've got a little bit of a question mark on it.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, I'll get your thoughts. And then also, how are you lining up this Kiwi Sort of State?
Okay, Sort of State, I think, he was very progressive in his runs in New Zealand. His last couple of wins in particular were exceptional. I just don't know about the setup. He wasn't he entered a few weeks ago? He had a setback, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate.
But and even his last trial was over a month ago, so I'm not sure everything's gone to plan there. And just to tie in with the rest of the race, most of his wins have been leading, and I think there's a few who are going to want to go forward here. I think it looks to be good enough speed on paper to suit Paul Hill. I think his Randwick win first up was just about the best 3-year-old performance we've seen so far this season. Everything fell into place for him that day, and if they go very hard, I mean, I've just said that you don't want to back horses that get back out of the chute at Rose Hill, but if they go very hard, it could set up quite nicely for him again. That said, he's not missed at 290, I think. King of Sparta's probably in an even worse position than him. He's drawn one outside him, and he probably ends up either wider or further back. I think he's very smart too, but he's going to have a hell of a task from where he ends up. Don't know about Home Affairs. If they press on, I think there's at least 2 inside him that might keep him out. Nash not shy of going right on with it, as we know, but that might overcook him as well. So I got a bit of a question mark on him. And the one Mark mentioned, I half found as well. Very fine red. This is a big step up.
Oh, Christ.
This is a very big step up from Kenzo, where it was put on for it, and it was best ground, to be honest. But, it hit the line well. Looks progressive to me. And drawn for a soft run, I probably a saver, or a small bet at least at $15, $16.
Okay.
I've done this race a little bit, and I have found number 11 a very fine red. You wouldn't want to be his apprentice, but I don't mind backing his horses at sort of north of $10. So I thought, it's going to get a really soft run. We'll probably get dusted by one of the favourites, but there was enough sort of grey on the punting form speed map, which is it puts them where they like to settle, like position in run. It looks chaotic. But if we ping, we might get a really soft run here, I thought. So it was a great price.
All right. Very good. Race 6 on the card is a Shannon. Group 2 over 1,500 metres. Love Tap's favourite at $3.20 from Imaging at $4. Discharged $9.50. Chat 10. Best of days 11. Mark Shean, early thoughts here in the Shannon.
Hey, well, Love Tap's pretty short here. Look, he got all favours to win at Kembla with the blinkers the first time. But he did have Nash on and got a beautiful card into the race. Loses Nash now. And is, what was $12 or $14 at Kembla is now 2-1. Price-wise, look, I'd rather be on Imaging. Gets McDonald. I think his only win in Australia had McDonald. He's had 3 runs at Rose Hill. They've all been good. He's just been in much harder races these last couple of starts. No luck in the wings, and then got a long way back in a very slowly run race at Flemington behind Incentivised. Probably just didn't finish off the last little bit, but I think he's better suited at around 14 to 15. So I think from barrier 1 with McDonald, I'd rather be on him.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, any thoughts here?
I'm leaning the same way. Very impressive Love Tap last start, but look, I think one of the things feeding into his price is the 6 kilo weight drop, and there's a strong one pacer rather than an acceleration horse. I don't know that the weight drop is as big as a plus for him as it is for some other horses. He'll just do what he does. He'll just get up on the speed and roll along. The 6 kilo weight drop, it's not nothing, but it's not as significant as it would be for a horse with a bit of a turn of foot. I'm with Imaging. I haven't backed it yet. Every time I look at the price, it's shortened another couple of ticks, which isn't great, but definitely a class run of the race, drawn for a soft run. No luck in the Winx Stakes first up, then unsuited at Flemington. And these are, they're weight for age races, Group 1 weight for age races. This is a lot easier. I think he's the top pick. I think Love Tap's the second pick, and the rest are in a bunch.
If you rip up the, if you go back through the punting form and dissect the Flemington race, it's gone as good or better than Colette. No offence to D. Thornton, but Jay McDonald gets on. It's run a bigger figure than it's run in its last 4 runs last start at Flemington. You guys are ticking in every box. This is going to start, south of $3.
I think I'm going to have to bet today. Can't wait any longer.
I think it's a bet. Big bet.
All right.
Okay, Matt. 25% at Rose Hill.
Lining up the first couple of races, this is likeable behaviour.
Well, what was that?
I hope it's 26% after the race.
All right, that takes us to the quaddie. First leg is race 7, the Golden Pendant, Group 2, 1,400 metres. Entreveur is $2.40 from Vangelic at $6.50. Vertus at $7, Nimmerly at $7.50. Forbidden Love at $9, Ice Bath at $10. Mark Shean,
favourite? Twisters there, wasn't there?
Oh, I think I went all right.
Look, for something to beat this favourite. I don't know if I can back anything to beat it, but it was impressive the other day. I know the only thing I'm worried about here that most of its runs seem to be off a 4 to 6 week spacing, and it backs up here for the first time 2 weeks. Got into the right spot at Kembla, 3 wide with cover when the fence was off. Now it comes up with barrier number 12. What does McDonald do here? He could even ping and lob outside the lead here. It's got enough speed. It was outside the pace that day, ran second at Wasika at Randwick. Yeah, I think the first 100's interesting here with Vangelis looking the only leader in the race, and he might be forced to just put the foot down and go straight across. Look, I don't think anything that raced it the other day can beat it. The left fielders are Nimmerley and Icebath coming out of a different form line. And Icebath is certainly the weight horse of those two, although Nimmerley looked like it had a lot more improvement in the yard. Look, the race a bit of a head scratcher for me. Probably wins on Trevor, but I'm not sure I could come at around 230. Icebath's probably worth a spec if you want to bet away from the favourite.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, what are you doing with the fave?
Yeah, it's going to be a very different setup from the other day. Good speed. She was in a lovely position with nothing around her. She had space in front and behind her, so he could just go exactly when he wanted to. He's going to have to do it himself here, either push on to outside lead. If they don't push on, he could be 3 wide on the limb. So that's enough to really stop me wanting to take a short price about it. I'll be looking for a change of tactics on Nimmerley because it has raced forward before, and just with so little speed on paper, this would be a great opportunity to go and sit second or third. Drawn 1 inside on Trippier as well. So I could not only put it, Rachel King could not only put herself in the race, but make life difficult for McDonald as well. I think that would be good tactics, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see there. I agree. I thought Icebath was third up, is ready to go. Look, we probably prefer her at her absolute top on a wet track, but I think she's going well enough. Rob Scurry will find her, no doubt. He loves her. But I thought at the odds, Nimmerley and Icebath were probably worth backing in.
Why is Mark Busher up to 1,400, boys?
God,
Yeah, I think it's a question mark, isn't it? There's a question mark over a few of these at 1,400. For twos is another one who I think will probably struggle at the trip. So, yeah, I thought she might stay at 12, Marbusha, but they're pressing on. Maybe she just lacked the dash there the other day, but she was coming again on the line, and she was first up. But, yeah, you'd have to say it was a bit of a query.
Isn't she a straight horse? Isn't that her go?
Well, she had those 2 nice trials. I reckon we did a show, or I rang Mark personally about the trials, and she went to Flemington and pissed in for us down the straight, first up. Then I think she came back to Sydney and was a bit so-so. Yeah, she came back to Rose Hill. She went 1,100 to 1,200 and then had another 2 runs at 1,200. She's thereabouts in all of them, winning the last one at 1,200 on the Gold Coast. So she's a group horse at over 1,200. It just seems odd. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Maybe they're all trying to press for that race, the invitation. They might be trying to, see and hope for.
Yeah.
I think it might have changed tactics for a lot of trainers.
Yeah, just another case of these monster prize money races.
Confusing the traditionalist. Yeah, and confusing the traditionalist. Like, what? Why would they be doing this? Oh, cash. Why does anyone do anything? Cash. Self-interest governs us all.
Indeed it does. Race 8 on the card. Golden Rose, the Group 1, 1,400 metres. Anamo's favourite at 2. Remark is 8. Artorias is 9. In the Congo is 10. Upwards the rest. Mark Shean, what price would you want Anamo?
Well, I think about evens is a fair price, to tell you the truth. He beat them pretty easily the other day. His best win was at 1,400 metres, and he goes from 12 to 14. Supposedly coming off a setback, even though he did look pretty athletic to me in the yard the other day. Did sweat up a little bit, so I think the only downside would be if he played up in the yard, and that would be the only thing you'd worry about. So he looks to have them covered to my eye. I think if you're looking for value away from him, I think in the Congo, I know he was soundly beaten by him the other day, but I thought the fence was off by that race and he stayed hard against the rail. He does map to look like he'll get a soft lead or be in front at the very least. So Maybe a question mark at 1400, but I think he'll run it. And as I said, if you're looking for a bit of value away from the favourite, I think it is in the Congo. Remark, I think he loomed to win the other day, but he went to pieces in the yard prior to that race, so maybe you could give him another chance, but he's worn thin with me. I've had enough of him. So 1 from 5 for me.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, do you have any betting play in this race?
It just depends on the price of the favourite, to be honest.
What price can you get him?
I'll put him $2. And quite frankly, if he improves, if he makes like a 2-length improvement, which is quite possible off his first up run, it's dead set no betting, I think. They won't beat him if he improves. Look, he only has to maintain the level of performance he's shown thus far in his career to be the one to beat anyway, but if he takes a step forward, it's over. And this has been a target race for him, surely, all along. So.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just sick. I backed him in the Blue Diamond and the bloody Prelude.
Yeah, right.
Artorias beat him in the Blue Diamond, but he has big, like, half the SP of Artorias in that race. So
great run in the Golden Slipper, then brained him in the Sires. He's a top horse, and been set for this. Evens isn't really my go generally, but it's getting close. I wonder if they were I'd remark handier. I don't know. They're sort of running out of options with him. Watching the race live last time, he was 3 wide early in the race at Kembla, but he did then just get in and trail Animo and looked like he was going to give him a race, and then his run sort of petered out. I don't know. I don't know if he's as good as they thought. In the Congo leads, yeah, I thought it might just be a bit sus at the end of 1400 with Animo breathing down its neck in the last 200. If the fence is okay, I don't think Captivon should be 33s. It's going to be at its work cut out knocking off Animo, to be honest. But I thought he was really good first up, then in the wrong part of the track last time, and the extra trip is what he wants as well. I thought he could be a place chance at 750 odd the place, I thought. But as I say, if Animo takes any improvement from that first up run, they won't be beating him.
It'll be interesting to see how Artorias gets around the Sydney way again, because he was totally lost in his trial and in the Golden Slipper. He was just looked like he'd been on the drink for 3 days up the straight in the Slipper. So I'm wondering if that was just greenness in the early part of the two-up preparation, whether he get on the right leg on Saturday, but he certainly didn't know what he was doing last time he was here.
Because he's going to get to $15 or something late, and you're going to have to make a decision with a horse like him.
But him and Halal are in the same boat. They're both just drawn atrocious. Really.
Wouldn't it be good to get on the drink for 3 days again? 2.5 years for us down here, Mark. Pete's doing it every weekend over there in Perth. He's got the AFL granny this weekend. We won't see him till Tuesday.
Might have put 3 or 4 years on your life. You never know.
All right. The Gloaming is race 9 over 1,800 metres, Group 3. Head of States $4.40. Profundo is $4.80. Arnica is $6.50. And then you've got $7 for Allegron, $8.50 for French Emperor, and Benno upwards to the rest. Mark, Shean, anything in the Gloaming?
Oh, this is a dead set head scratcher. Honestly, you should just watch and learn, I think, really. If you're desperate for a bet, look, Head of Stakes probably had the best preparation. He's had the 3 runs in. He looks like he's going to run the 1,800, but I've never really had much of an opinion of him, to tell you the truth. Profundo, his first 2 trials in my eye were trials of a group horse. He won the other day first up, but it wasn't flash. But maybe they'd been cuddling him in those trials on the synthetic and didn't push him out. And he just got a bit lost when he hit the front. I think potentially he is easily the best horse in the race, but second up, 1,800, 480. Look, it looks a no-bet race to me. You could get the pin out here. Honestly, you could. Profundo, I think, will be the best horse.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, do you have any thoughts on the race or indeed Profundo?
Yeah, I think he might be just better than him. I don't think this is a great race. I take Mark's point about him. He wasn't overly impressive in that debut win at Kenzo, but that was a funny track that day. The leader kept kicking because leaders were suited that day, and he was one of the few to get it done from sort of running line and off the pace a bit. I think he's pretty promising. And unlike a few of them here, he's drawn well in Gate 5. I think he should be handy enough. like other things in the market, like Arna Kerr's drawn 13. It's going to be a hell of a long way back, I think. He's 480, and you say, well, it's a big step up from a Kenzo Maiden to this, but what's third, fourth pick's French Emperor, who's coming off a win at Golden. It's
yeah. Well, Love Tap won it last year and won a Class 1 at Golden.
So. Golden, exactly, yeah. And this Benno's single figures, which has got me stuffed, to be honest, but it's single figures off a Nowra win. And Head of State, until last start, you would have said was, just wasn't going on at all. He did show something last start, and I think he's probably the danger to Profondo here. But I think Profondo is really the only horse with pretensions to going on to better races than this.
Mark, what do you think of Subterranean? Do you think it'll run the trip? He had to ease right back the other day from a wide barrier. He's going to get a beautiful run here, and he's probably the weight horse, but I suppose the question mark lingers whether he'll run the trip.
I was worried about that. I was worried about the trip mainly with him. He does map well with Nashon, I must admit, but I think the market sort of went a bit mad on him after he had the unlucky run at Kembla, was it? Behind Tiger on the Way, maybe, or something. Yeah. I think he might have shot his bolt for the trip, to be honest. But yeah, I think Profondo looks a very nice horse in the making. I think 480 is okay. I think it's okay. I'll be back in.
All right. Dickens, anything for yourself in race 9?
No.
All right. We've got good enough push for Profondo, potentially, depending on what the track's doing. Race 10's the last. Benchmark 88 over 1,400. Old Mate Ellsberg, $3.60. Kiku, $4. Bullfinch with Glyn on board is 10. And so is All Hallows Eve with Grand Rumour, $11. We'll go with that. Mark Shean, anything the last?
Well, this is a trick race as well. We've got Ellsberg. They've taken all the gear off it, and apparently they're going to ride it back off the speed. 14 barrier and Nashon, you would have thought just being just on and flat to the boards.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll have to wait and see if that occurs. I'll get it out in a minute. Kiku, the other one in the market, has a bad habit of missing the start. It's had 3 trials, missed the start in every trial, and missed the start in the last 3 races, so she might be out the back. Look, I thought Bullfinch did enough first up here, got a long way back, and, pretty quiet ride until the last 100. Glenn's back. He rode a winner during the week. So
told everyone about it.
Maybe he'll get back in the winner's stall on a Saturday. So I thought, just at a bit of odds, I thought Bullfinch was worth a spec. And I don't know what they're going to do with Ellsberg. That's thrown the spanner in the works for me. I thought he'd just be, charging for the lead. So I'm going to have something each way. A big query on Grace and Harmony as well here, number 10, and a couple of quiet trials.
Alrighty. Mark Rhoden, thoughts here?
Well, I'm glad I've found out that information that Mark's just shared with us, because I was about to just go and shoot my mouth off about what a good thing Ellsberg was. It's taken the wind out of my sails. I'm just going to boycott this race now, I think. What a great change of tactics. What's behind this? He won by 3 lengths leading first up last time at 1,400. He didn't lead in the Hawkesbury Guineas and got rolled. Then he led... he got knocked over by Kerwin's Lane in a monstrously high rating 88 at Rosehill. Led and ran second to Ed.
Mark, who won the Victorian Derby last year? Who trained the winner?
Won the VRC Derby.
Yeah, a football coach, mate. Look.
Yeah. So, okay, last time he was on a racetrack, he was at 1,600 metres, he led, and he ran second to Ayrton. So apparently they're bad tactics now.
Well, we'll have to get this officially, but apparently he said that in an interview on the radio, so that they were going to try something different with him. But we'll just have to wait and see if the change of tactics are given to the stewards that way.
Well, I'm not happy about it, to be honest. I was hearing something recently, a trainer had said in the past sometime that when you're talking to the owners, if you lead and run third, it's an absolute disaster. If you settle last and run third, it's, they're popping champagne. It's all just emotion and narrative. And
self-interest governs us all.
Yeah. So, anyway, if they're not going to lead it in, I don't know. I think Tiku's probably better on wet as well, and it was the main danger. Bullfinch, I wouldn't talk anyone about back in Bullfinch at big odds, but I thought this was an Ellsberg benefit when I first did it. Now I'm going to leave the show in a bad mood.
So this might be a really good time to go for a walk. Are you allowed one walk a day there, Mark?
Yeah.
Go along what is it, Allison Road? No, that's Randwick.
No, you get down the beach, mate.
Oh, God, yeah, you got to be across there at Hooters or something for a function. Go and see if it pings a Liz and just pound it in run. If Ellsberg goes forward, get the good odds for a ticket in play. You've got to pay the big tax, but it's still going to be a big bet and good value, isn't it?
Well, he's the best horse. If he finds the right spot, he should eat them.
Mm.
Like, he's had a couple of trials. They've been so-so, but he has trialled without any gear on, and again, he's got no gear. Like, removing the blinkers, he jumped out of the ground when they put the blinkers on him. And it's
Did you see?
After I backed him in the Spring Stakes, which was a slaughter, and then they put the blinkers on him, and he jumped out of the ground. So,
you see Pistol's little face giggle then when I said Hooters, and then you said when they had no gear on him. You're a child, mate. You are a child.
I'm thinking on a different plane as per usual. But that brings us to the end. I'll get your best players, whether they be best bets, value bets, or lay bets. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Look, I backed Cuban Royale last start, and I'm going to give him another go. I think the track had deteriorated. He got into the worst part of the track, so I'm going to give him. He's down to a midway. So race 3, number 1. I think he's good value. Cuban Royale.
Okay, very good. Mark Rhoden.
I'm looking at a 2-horse play in the same race as Mark just mentioned, and I was Cuban Royale as well. And I think Catapult with Nash on. I've tipped him before, and he's been dreadful. He's generally a dreadful horse, but this had absolutely no luck whatsoever last start. Enrawilla on low draw, hopefully just half put him in the race. He's big odds. He can perhaps do something, but I do think Cuban Royale's the one to beat. And my best was going to be Ellsberg, but now we'll make it Imaging.
Very good. Dickens.
I think you're going to have a Imaging Animo all up. Take the $4 now. Imaging would be a lovely play for the day. And just before we go, I've got 2 questions. Now, I got abused via email, Mark. Can you just confirm, you don't have to wear it, but can you confirm to the viewers that you have got mailbag merch? Because I got an abusive message calling me a tight for not supplying you with merch. Mark has all the merch he wants, do you not?
Yeah, I've got the merch. It's just been 100 degrees up here every day. So,
that's all I wanted to hear, so stop emailing me. I'm not a tight ass. Everyone's got merch. The family. And a couple from Twitter. Boys, how do we handle the highway races and the midways? Are they useless as form references, or can we get something out of them?
I handle the highways very easily. I don't do them.
Yeah, look, they're not my go. Midways have been some rough results, but I've got a best bet in the midway tomorrow, so you just have to wait and see if they're any good to you or not. Just do the form on them and see if you can find one, maybe.
The midway is basically a Metro Wednesday 72.
The Wednesday race. Yeah.
It's a Wednesday race, exactly. So it's not nearly as scary as a highway where they come from all points of the compass.
And Pistol.
The highway horses, when they first started, they looked like underdogs when they arrived at the race. But the quality, honestly, the quality has improved over time. Look, some people love betting in them. I'm just not into that country form that much, and a lot of people are. So,
there's certainly been some.
What's in your own wheelhouse, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone, find your own niche. And on that, there's been some super horses come out of highways, like It's Me and a couple of others.
Oh, I love that horse. That's the one that got knocked down. It's just got there.
Yeah,
and it's had an injury now. He'll probably never beat the stone. But
that was part of the infamous fucking Dennis Pagan ran me in the snoof to ruin my house deposit collect. That was part of the bet. It's Me into Young Werther to win the Derby. Oh, fuck.
Oh, well.
Pistol, before we go, one for you. Is the cutaway the best ground at Belmont now for the last weekend of Belmont?
Well, we won't have a cutaway on Saturday. We've got rail 9 metres, which has not been a rail position in the last 2 seasons. Funny that Chris Nation has left and is now at Newcastle, and they've reverted to rail 9 metres, which I think the reason they haven't done it is because historically it is mad on pace, leaders, one-way, highway. Full stop.
That's always one of the best of all time. Enjoy your week, guys. Head to themailbag.com.au. Get on board. Accountable betting advice delivered to your phone via our app. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the footy. And go South, Mark.
Yeah,
Favourites. Favourites.
Could be nervous. No fingernails tonight.
Bennett versus Desi.
Yeah, versus Desi, yeah.
Imagine we should get them on the show. That'd be an entertaining, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm on $15 in Melbourne, so I don't know who to barrack for.
Anyway, good luck, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.
See you, boys.
Bye for now.